येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So thank you everyone once again for being with us on this auspicious study of Sri Mukundamala Stotra. So today we are continuing from where we have been studying together. We completed 17th verse, Nathena Purushottame Trijagatam. What is the glory of the Lord as a master, above any kind of master we can get in our life, and why we should exclusively dedicate ourselves to the Lord's service is what was the theme of that 17th verse. Now 18th verse and 19th and 20th are in a series. They are explaining to us Rushikena Rushikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So we know that Bhakti basically involves serving the master of the senses, Rushikesha, with our senses and the mind. So what is the experience a devotee has when he engages his senses in the service of the Lord, and how his approach is to that type of service? How much he is longing, yearning, reiterating, wanting to again and again engage in this type of service is what the theme of this three verses is. So in short, 18, 19, 20 will talk about King Kulashekara's experience of having engaged his senses in the service of the Lord, which is increasing his desire to further engage his senses in the service of the Lord. So let's begin by reciting 18th verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Baddhena Anjalina Natena Shirasa. Baddhenanjalina Natena Shirasa. Gatraihi Saromodgamaihi. Gatrai Saromodgamaihi. Kanthena Svargadgadena Nayanena. Kanthena Svargadeda Nayanena. Udgirna Bashpambuna. Udgirna Bashpambuna. Nityam Tvacharanaраvinda Yugala. Nityam Tvacharanaраvinda Yugala. Dhyanam Amruta Asvadinam. Dhyanamrutasvadinam. Asmakam Sarasiruhaksha Satatam. Asmakam Sarasiruhaksha Satatam. Sampadyatam Jeevitam. Sampadyatam Jeevitam. So I'll recite full line and you please repeat after me. Baddhenanjalina natena shirasa gatrai saromodgamaihi. Kanthena svargadgadena nayane nodgirna bashpambuna. नित्यं त्वच्चरणारविन्दयुगलध्यानामृतास्वादिनाम् अस्माकं सरसीरुहाक्ष सततं सम्पद्यतां जीवितम्. Okay, thank you. Translation. Someone please read the translation.
O lotus-eyed Lord, please sustain our lives as we constantly relish the nectar of meditating on your lotus feet, with our palms prayerfully joined, our heads bowed down, our bodily hair standing up in jubilation, our voices choked with emotion, and our eyes flowing with tears. Balwant, just one quick question. Dear devotees, are you all able to see? I'm doing screen share. Are you all able to see the verse?
Yes,
Yes, I
Prabhu.
am.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Balwant, please continue. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So now I'll read the translation with the Anvaya in Sanskrit. O lotus-eyed Lord, Sarasi Ruhaksha, please sustain our lives. Sampadyatam asmakam jivitam. As we constantly relish the nectar, satatam amruta asvadinam, of meditating on your lotus feet. Tvat charanaravinda yugala dhyana. With our palms prayerfully joined, baddhena anjalina, our heads bowed down, natena shirasa, our bodily hair standing up in jubilation, gatraihi sa romodgamaihi, our voices choked with emotion, kanthena swargadgadena, and our eyes flowing with tears. Nayanena udgirna bashpa ambuna. Actually, somehow English cannot capture everything that Sanskrit expresses, but it is still, our attempt to try and capture it. So, in this verse, we see which are the limbs that are being engaged in the service of the Lord. There is Anjalina, joining of the palms, Shirasa, bowing down of the head, Gatraihi, various limbs of the body having Romodgama, hair standing on end, Kantha, our vocal cords, Nayana, eyes, then the mind, Dhyana Amruta Aswadinam. So, tasting or relishing the immortal nectar of meditation on Lord's lotus feet. And in this way, when we are so absorbed in you, O Krishna, how will our worldly affairs, such as maintaining the body and soul together, such as enacting our family duties, or such as performing our professional responsibilities, will go on? So, kindly you handle that part. And while we continue meditating on your lotus feet and drinking the nectar of this meditation, you better, take care of other things that we are unable to pay attention to. So it's a very sweet way of obliging the Lord to fully be involved in our life. See, there are two kinds of people in this world. There are problem creators and there are problem solvers. That's all this material world consists of. Then there are another two categories of people amongst the problem solvers. Those who think that they can solve problems. So they are really getting into solving problems. So that is one category. And there are those who know that I cannot solve any problem in this material world because material world itself is a problem. Not that material world has a problem. So it is better that whoever made this material world handle the problems that are coming around and let me focus on building my relationship with him while this problem solving business is going on. So just like if you give a child biscuits, cream biscuits, So if you notice, the children, they open the biscuit and directly taste the cream. They don't waste their time, putting their teeth inside the maida, or the wheat flour of that biscuit. They know exactly what to do when you get a biscuit in hand. Similarly, when a problem comes in our life, it's like a biscuit. The outer side is the material tabernacle, some complication, issue that is very hard to deal with. And inside the problem is an access given to meditating on Krishna and building our relationship with Krishna. Just like in the case of Parikshit Maharaj, when he was cursed to die in 7 days, so that was a problem handed over to him. And within that problem, he figured out a solution, which is to exclusively focus on, for all those 7 days and 7 nights, on Krishna Katha. So in this way, the Brajavasi mentality is that we will focus on loving Krishna and serving Krishna. And if Krishna desires, he should focus on sorting out problems that are coming around. Whenever there is a demon that has come in the Brajalila, Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna, there is Trunavarta, there is Vatsasur, Aghasur, Bakasur, all these varieties of problem fellows. You see what is the response of the Brajavasis. The Brajavasis, they run towards Krishna and they run towards taking shelter of Krishna within their hearts. And they especially call out Krishna, Krishna, Mahabaho, Bhaktanam, Abhayankaraha, Tratumarhasinah Devan, whatever, Kupitat. The Indra has become angry now, for the advice of yours that we followed. Please take charge of the situation. And then Krishna has to come and be busily engaged in sorting out their problem, while the Brajavasis are happily engaged below the Govardhan in meditating on Krishna, in looking at his beautiful features, in exchanging love with him. And Krishna is busy sorting out the problem, along with reciprocating with Brajavasis. So here we are not trying to promote that we become irresponsible in dealing with the issues of life. But we are trying to promote the idea that first we take shelter of Krishna, and then with the help of Krishna, we deal with the problem at hand. So the Brajavasis are so expert at it. You have seen just like children, as I said, they take the biscuit, they eat the cream, and then they hand over back those 2 pieces of, wheat, whatever, circles, back to their parents. You eat that. And then you give another biscuit, they again take the cream and they give back the, the biscuit cover. So similarly, Krishna sends problems and devotees access within that problem the opportunity to become Krishna conscious. And the problem part of it, they involve Krishna himself along with, themselves. Let's sort it out together, and better Krishna handles the issue, because is there any problem that Krishna cannot handle? So this is the mood here, that as we are engaged in meditating on you like this, Sarasi Ruhaksha, O lotus-eyed Lord, Sampadyatam Jivitam, kindly maintain our lives. So the purport says, the devotee finds full satisfaction in reverently worshipping the Lord, appreciating his personal features. A Vaishnava does not worry much about his own sustenance. In modern cities, by contrast, earning one's livelihood has become an exaggerated endeavor that takes one's full energy, day and night, leaving no time left for God except perhaps on Sunday, the day of rest. So, the Vedic philosophy teaches the top priority should be reawakening our relationship with the Lord. So, we should never allow ourselves, as sensible men and women, to get so wrapped up in this material duties that they sap all our energy and kill our desire for serving Krishna. and a classic example of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So I'll pause there. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Balgovind Prabhu. This is so wonderful when you are talking, giving the example of the children eating the cream and leaving the maida behind. Maithili was
To the
laughing.
parents, they give it back to the parents.
To the parents, yeah. So similarly, and you were explaining how the mood of the Brajvasis is whenever all these asuras attack, they just run to Krishna, they take shelter of Krishna. So that was very sweet, Prabhu. Very important lesson for us how to face problems and difficulties. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Any other reflections? Okay, there is one more point in the purport. An ideal service for a householder is deity worship, either at home or in the temple. As one cleans the altar, cooks, or dresses the deity, one should relish the nectar of meditating on the Lord's lotus feet. To be effective, worship must never be done in a time-serving mood. So Prabhupada contrasts the worship of Mayavadis and that of devotees. And then finally, he says, Archa Vigraha is not a symbolic creation, but is Krishna himself, appearing in the form of metal, stone, wood, to facilitate devotional exchanges with his devotees. Just yesterday, we celebrated Raghunandan Thakur's Tirobhav Din, and he is famous for what? His faith that this deity is Krishna. And my father told me that that Krishna eats the bhoga that we offer to him. So until he eats, I cannot be satisfied in my approach of service towards him. All right, we go to the next verse, text 19. So I'll again read it in broken ways, one word first. Then I'll again combine for making a meter out of it. And then I will recite the entire line so that you can follow behind. Please repeat. Yat Krishna Pranipata Dhuli Dhavalam Tadvarshma Tadvaishiras Te Netre Tamasojjhite Suruchire Yabhyam Harir Drushyate Yat Krishna Pranipata Dhuli Dhavalam Tadvarshma Tadvaishiras Te Netre Tamasojjhite Suruchire Yabhyam Harir Drushyate Sa Buddhir Vimalendu Shankha Dhavala Ya Madhava Dhyayini Sa Buddhir Vimalendu Shankha Dhavala Ya Madhava Dhyayini Sa Jihva Amrutavarshini Pratipadam Ya Stauti Narayanam Sa Jihva Amrutavarshini Pratipadam Ya Stauti Narayanam. So please read translation, someone.
That head is the loftiest, which is white with dust from bowing down to Lord Krishna. Those eyes are the most beautiful, which darkness has abandoned after they have seen Lord Hari. That intelligence is spotless, like the white glow of the moon or a conch shell, which concentrates on Lord Madhava. And that tongue rains down nectar, which constantly glorifies Lord Narayan.
Amazing. So let's see the Anvaya as the English flows. That head is the loftiest. Tadvarshma tadvai shiras, which is white with the dust. Pranipata dhuli dhavalam, because of bowing down to Lord Krishna. Krishna pranipata dhuli dhavalam. Okay, those eyes are most beautiful. Netre suruchire, of which darkness has abandoned after they have seen Lord Hari. Tamasa ujjite harir yabhyam drishyate. Sa buddhir vimala indu shankha dhavala. That intelligence is spotless like the white glow of the moon or that of a conch shell, shankha dhavala. Vimala indu is spotlessly glowing moon, and Vimala shankha dhavala is spotlessly white conch shell. Ya Madhava Dhyayini, which concentrates on Lord Madhava. And Sa Jihva Amruta Varshini, that tongue rains down nectar. Pratipadam, constantly. Ya Stauti Narayanam, that glorifies Lord Narayana. So in this we see that there are head, eyes, intelligence, and tongue being glorified of a person that are engaged in the service of the Lord. So there are many important aspects that we can learn from this verse. One is that how bowing down before the Lord and even getting our clothes, head, or whatever, so-called dirty with the dust on the ground is actually a very glorious phenomenon. I remember in one of the yatras, one devotee was dusting himself off very carefully, making sure that not a the dust particle from Vrindavan Dham remains on his shirt or body. And one senior Vaishnava, Brahmachari, he was standing nearby, and he was not criticizing that devotee, but he was just leaning over to me and saying, "I wish somebody could tell this devotee that this dust of Vrindavana is capable of purchasing 1,000,000 Vaikunthas." And it is so precious that we should not think that it is something, a bothering phenomenon. So the appreciation that we carry for the devotional service of the Lord gain towards engaging our senses happily in service of the Lord are very important factors in our life, because what we appreciate appreciates. So if we appreciate devotional service, it will increase. If we appreciate senses that are being engaged in the service of the Lord and their experience thereof, then we'll again and again do it in our life. It's just like that Tunde Tandavinim verse in which Rupa Goswami is saying that I do not know how much nectar Krishna, these two syllables, have produced. When those two syllables enter into my ears, I feel I should have 1,000,000 ears. They enter into when I recite them on my tongue, I feel I should have millions of tongues. And when the holy name enters into the courtyard of my heart, I desire I should have much more ability to relish this. It completely enraptures my consciousness, makes me inert, and bestows upon me the ultimate experience of uniting with the Lord. So his experience of having engaged the senses in service of the Lord is what we are also aspiring for. So in our conditioned state, because our senses are covered with the avidya of various kinds, they fail to relish the happiness that is inherently present in devotional activities. For example, if our tongue was to be wrapped with some plastic, and if somebody was to give us some sweet rice to eat, we won't experience much, although the sweet rice is really tasty. Or the example of Nectar of Instruction, verse 7, jaundiced patient can't relish sugarcane juice because the tongue is having bilious secretions that are covering it. making everything taste bitter. Similarly, the jaundice of avidya that is covering the consciousness of the living being makes the living being not relish the contact with spiritual substances, be it Bhagavatam or deities or holy name or association of devotees. In fact, sometimes it tastes bitter. So these verses, they give us an impetus when we hear from Kulashekar Maharaj that, oh my God, this is going to make my life even wonderful. If the more I engage my intelligence in meditating on Krishna, the more I engage my head in bowing down before Krishna, the more I engage my eyes in beholding the beautiful form of the deity, and the more I keep talking about Krishna, you know, the natural relish will awaken in these senses, these elements, to actually get absorbed in Krishna. So this is the meaning. I'll see some points from the purport. So he begins by saying that one should overlook the devotees being born in low family, having body with bad complexion, diseased body, infirm body. One should see the power of devotional service that is dramatic. Devotional service gradually spiritualizes and beautifies all one's senses. So ordinary people can't see it, but we can see it as we become practicing Vaishnavas, that how a person is becoming transformed little by little. Of course, even our friends and relatives can make it out that this guy is transforming, but they don't understand what is exactly happening to this devotee. So Prabhupada says, he would sometimes recall how when he first met many of his future disciples, they were dirty, morose hippies. But as they took to Krishna consciousness, they became like bright-faced angels from Vaikuntha. Then there is the example of Krishna entering Mathura. He makes Kubja very beautiful. Lord Chaitanya meets Vasudeva leper and he makes him very beautiful. And then finally comes to the point. A devotee becomes beautiful by humbling himself in the dust as he offers obeisances to the Lord. By contrast, a proud person who is trying to impress the opposite sex with his or her so-called beauty will avoid bowing down in the dust. But King Kulashekar recommends it as a kind of a beauty treatment. True beauty means that which is pleasing to Lord Krishna. The devotee's eyes become beautiful by seeing the most beautiful form of Krishna. A reflection of Krishna's radiance shines in the eyes of devotional mystics. Those who saw his divine grace, Srila Prabhupada, saw this radiance in his eyes. Even we see the pictures of Prabhupada, we feel it. What to speak of seeing Prabhupada live, face to face. The spotless intelligence referred to here is one that is cleansed of all doubts and filled with pure faith in the Lord. One who has attained such clear buddhi, spiritual intelligence, is peaceful and is able to solve all problems, both his own and of others. Therefore, the devotee's intelligence is likened to the moon, whose cool, soothing beauty can be seen and appreciated by everyone in the world. Similarly, the tongue that glorifies the Lord is said to shower down a rain of nectar, which, like the moonshine, is available to all without distinction. So very beautiful the way Satswarup Maharaj writes this purport. Any reflections or comments, questions?
Hare Krishna, Balgovind Prabhu, this last line, Sajivamrita Varshini Pratipadam Yastauti Narayanam. That tongue that does stuti of Narayana is Jivhamrita Varshini. Amrita Varshini, yeah. It's such a nice meditation for before chanting japa or before giving class. Very, very nice meditation. I like this last line very much.
Thank you.
And that story about the dust offering obeisance in Vrindavan, that was also very sweet.
Yes.
And I
Just
really
give me-
liked how you mentioned that senior devotee did not criticize that devotee who was dusting off the dust, but rather said that I wish somebody told this devotee that this dust is priceless. Even a speck of dust can purchase millions of Vaikuntha planets. The Vrajraj. I like that very much. Very important. Otherwise, sometimes the tendency can develop that I know more than them, or that devotee is foolish. So the way you mentioned it was very, very nice, very instructive also. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, please feel free to make any comments or reflections or questions also.
Just give me 1 second. Haribol.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
You, can you
Yes.
go and give my this? She called me just now. So just go and give my Kindle so that she can read the Ramayana. It's already open here. Nothing has to be done. या ये बोल रहे ना 5वां विश्राम इधर से आगे पढ़ना है. Okay, sorry, we can continue.
Yes, dear devotees, does anyone want to make any reflections, comments, questions? I think you can proceed, Prabhu.
Okay. So can you please go to the next verse? I have now, my tablet has gone because the teacher in our Gurukula, we have a way of putting the boys to rest. At 7:10 they go into their beds with mosquito net. Number 1 करके आओ, हाथ पैर धो लो, फिर journal लिखो खुद का रात का. What did we do today? Then offer prayers for the deity. Then I usually do this myself. I sit with them and read Ramayana. And like a lullaby, put them to sleep. And they sleep at around 7:45. So today somebody else is doing it and my Kindle has gone, means my tablet has gone for that sake. So I can't read anymore the verses. You have to show them to me on the screen.
Sure,
And then I will
Prabhu. Very wonderful schedule. So are you able to see now?
just make it bigger.
Okay. So when I make it bigger, it becomes bigger for you also?
Yeah, it becomes bigger. That is perfect. Okay, so we go to text 20 and we'll complete with this today. Okay. Please repeat. Jihve Kirtaya Keshavam
Keshavam
Muraripum.
Muraripum
Jihve Kirtaya Keshavam Muraripum.
Jivhe Kirtaya Keshavam Muraripum
Cheto
Cheto
Bhaja
Bhaja
Sridharam.
Sridharam
Cheto Bhaja Sridharam.
Cheto Bhaja Sridharam
Pani Dvandva
Pani Dvandva
Samarchaya
Samarchaya
Achyuta Kathaha
Achyuta Kathaha
Shrotradvaya
Shrotradvayam
Tvam Shrunu
Tvam Shrunu
Pani Dvandva Samarchaya Achyuta Katha
Pani Dvandva Samarchaya Achyuta Katha
Shrotradvaya Tvam Shrunu
Shrotradvaya Tvam Shrunu
Krishnam
Krishnam
Lokaya Lochanadvaya Harer
Hare
Gachangri
Gacchangri Yugamalayam
Krishnam Lokaya Lochanadvaya Harer
Krishnam Lokaya Lochana Dvaya Hare
Gachangri Yugmalayam
Gacchangri Yugmalayam
Jighra
Jighra
Grana
Grana
Mukunda Pada Tulasi
Mukundapad Tulasim
Murdhan
Murdhan
Nama Adhokshajam
Namadhokshajam
Jighra Grana Mukunda Pada Tulasim
Jighragrana Mukundapad Tulasim
Murdhan Nama Adhokshajam
Murdhannamadhokshajam.
So let's do the full one. Jihve kirtaya keshavam muraripum cheto bhaja sridharam.
Jivhe kirtaya keshavam muraripum cheto bhaja sridharam.
पाणि द्वन्द्व समर्चयाच्युत कथा श्रोत्रद्वयत्वं शृणु
पाणि द्वन्द्व समर्चयाच्युत कथा श्रोत्रद्वयत्वं शृणु
कृष्णं लोकयलोचनद्वय हरेर्गच्छाङ्घ्रियुग्मालयम्
कृष्णं लोकयलोचनद्वय हरेर्गच्छाङ्घ्रियुग्मालयम्
जिघ्रघ्राणमुकुन्दपादतुलसीं मूर्धन्यमाधोक्षजम्
जिघ्रघ्राणमुकुन्दपादतुलसीं मूर्धन्यमाधोक्षजम्.
Someone please read translation.
O tongue, praise the glories of Lord Keshav. O mind, worship the enemy of Mura. O hands, serve the Lord of Shri. O ears, hear the topics of Lord Achyuta. O eyes, gaze upon Shri Krishna. O feet, go to the temple of Lord Hari. O nose, smell the tulasi buds on Lord Mukunda's lotus feet. O head, bow down to Lord Adhokshaja.
So if you notice, the 18 verse talked about Baddhena Anjalina Natena Shirasa. Oh Lord, please maintain us as we begin our meditation on you. We just want to dedicate ourselves to your thinking of you, Matchitta, and acting for your pleasure, Madgata Prana. And we want to dedicate ourselves to, Bodhayantaha Parasparam, Kathayantasya Mam Nityam, all that. And please let us not be bothered by the exaggerated needs of our material life. We really wish that we be able to fully concentrate on you. So that's like a prayer. Then he says the glory of those senses that are engaged in the service of the Lord. So, buddhi, eyes, etc. Those are engaged. He glorifies them. They are the best. They are the showering of nectar. They are doing everything. And now in this verse, finally, having done these two parts, he instructs his senses to engage in the service of the Lord. So the focus in this verse is that I am the master of my senses and I'm supposed to direct them in the right direction. So he begins by saying this, let's read the Anvaya as we flow through the English. O tongue, jihve, kirtaya keshavam. Praise the glories of Lord Keshava. Cheto, O mind, Muraripum bhaja. Worship the enemy of Mura. Pani dvandva, O hands, Samarchaya Sridharam. Serve the Lord of Shri. O ears, Shrotradvaya, 2 ears, right? So Dvaya, Shrotradvaya. Achyuta Kathaha Tvam Shrunu. Hear the topics of Lord Achyuta. Then Lochanadvaya, O my 2 eyes, Krishnam Lokaya. Gaze upon Lord Shri Krishna. And O my Anghri Yugalam, Yugmalayam. So Anghri Yugma is the 2 feet that I have. Harer Gacha Alayam. Go to the temple of Lord Hari. And Ghrana, O nose, Jighra Mukunda Pada Tulasim. Smell the tulasi buds on the lotus feet of Lord Mukunda. And O head, Murdhan, bow down. Nama. And to Lord Adhokshajam. So it's a very clear-cut instruction given, to the senses. They cannot be under any bewilderment. What are they supposed to be doing in life? Just like you keep some servants at your home, and you give them precise instructions. What's your job description? What are the end results, goals expected, and what you are allowed to do and what you are not allowed to do. Do's and don'ts. Very clearly you tell them, then only your household can function properly. Imagine you keep some servants at home, they don't know what their exact job description is. There is no way you have communicated to them the end result that you expect at the end of the day or that hour. And especially they are not so to say keen on taking instructions from you. Imagine what kind of chaos can happen. So this is why we say Rushikena Rushikesha Sevanam. In order to engage the senses, we have to understand that we are the master of our senses. Our senses are not our bosses. So we will tell our eyes where to look. We will tell our tongue what to taste. We will tell our nose what to smell. We will tell our hands how to serve. And they are supposed to carry out our instructions. Because ultimately, the hierarchy is that gross matter is subordinate to senses, Indriyani Paranyahur. The senses are subordinate to mind, Indriyabhyah Param Manaha. Mind is subordinate to intelligence, Manasastu Para Buddhehe. And Buddhi is subordinate to the soul, Yo Buddhe Paratastu Saha. And finally, the soul is subordinate to the super soul, Mamaevam Shaha Jiva Loke. So, in this way, the hierarchy, when it is maintained, we actually lead a very happy life without hassles. And this is what we get as a clue how to become Goswami, the controller of the senses, so that then one can become a devotee. Like Prabhupada begins in a Nectar of Instruction preface, without becoming a Goswami, without controlling the senses, there is no question of spiritual life. There is no question of becoming a devotee of the Lord. So this is how the instructive tone is a very interesting tone that has been taken up in this verse. So I was just studying something in context of this recently as to why we do not do what we are supposed to be doing. Why do we give so many excuses, basically? So first of all, what are the excuses? Excuses are rationalizations we make to ourselves about people, events, circumstances. They are invented reasons we create to defend our behavior, to postpone taking action, or simply as a means of neglecting responsibility. So this is what we mean by excuses. And generally we make excuses for not engaging in devotional service or not doing the right thing. For example, chanting good japa or getting up in the morning or whatever it is, for many reasons. One is that we have fear of failure. Anyways, मैं तो इतना शुद्ध भक्त नहीं बनने वाला, इतना मेहनत करके क्या फायदा है, वैसे भी एक लाइफ टाइम ऑलरेडी माया को डेडिकेट करके हो चुका है, में देख लेंगे. Or there is fear of embarrassment, that okay, if I do too much and there is something that goes wrong with me, people will laugh at this. Or there is fear of success. Some people, they fear, if I become pure devotee, I may lose actually my material enjoyment. Or there is fear of change. There is fear of uncertainty. Will this really work, for a soul like me? And then there's a fear of taking and there's fear of making mistakes. नाम लूंगा तो अपराध हो जाएंगे, तो नाम ही नहीं लेते, फिर नाम अपराध होने का सवाल ही नहीं आता है फिर उसके बाद. So we have all kinds of craziness going on inside our head to give excuses to not do surrender, not do engagement of senses in the service of the Lord. Then there are excuses like, oh, there is just not enough time, or there is not just enough money in my life. I don't have the education that I need. I'm just too old, or I'm just too young to do all this, and I don't know how to do all these things, and I just can't change. It is not the right time for me. I think I have to plan thoroughly first. And I'm just not inspired. You must have heard all these things in our life. Rascal mind that we have and useless excuses that we maintain. They are very, very interesting. So the best thing to do is to take charge and stop giving excuses and stop these rational lies that we tell ourselves, rationalizations that we do, and start afresh. Every day we begin on a fresh note. Morning we get up, abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanya paramam purusham divyam yati parthanu chintayan. Let me wholeheartedly engage in abhyasa yoga, the practice of fixing my senses and mind on Krishna. So I hope I'm making some sense in the context of why we need to take charge of our senses and mind and not allow the endless rattling that is going on inside with the mind and other fellows to take charge of our life. And this verse gives us a clue how to do that. As soon as you wake up in the morning, tell your tongue, Jive Kirtaya Keshavam, Muraripum Cheto Bhaja Sridharam, Pani Dondva Samarchaya Achyuta Katha, Shrotradvayam Tvam Shruno, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So very clear-cut instructions. And in this way, we will actually become happily situated in devotional service. All right. So let's see a few of the purport points if the time allows. So, last paragraph. Each of our senses may help or hinder us in devotional service. If we allow even one sense free rein, it can seriously distract our mind, just as the gust of wind can actually take away the boat. So these are some wonderful clues Kulashekar Maharaj is providing us to become happily and seriously situated in devotional service. Any reflections or comments? Or
Dear
questions?
devotees, anybody wants to ask a question or comment at this point?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Prabhuji, Sandeep here. Prabhuji, this shloka, actually, a couple of weeks back, we were talking about this shloka, and Amendra Prabhu, he was talking about this shloka. And definitely, this is very, very clear-cut imperative instructions to all the senses, Prabhuji. And as you said, we can definitely practice this, telling our senses. But Prabhuji, I am finding it very difficult, Prabhuji. So at what stage we feel like our senses start taking our instructions, or what should be the intensity that we can engage all our senses as per the instructions or understanding from this verse?
So let me clarify. What is the difficulty? To instruct and thus make the senses obey what we are telling them to do every time?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, so then that is just like learning, riding a bicycle or whatever, riding a horse. So in the beginning, both fellows don't listen to you. They have their own laws that they follow. But you need to get a hang of how to handle that, personality or system, so that you can ride it. Similarly, our senses are like a wayward horse. In the beginning, we will be thrown off very often, but that should not stop us from trying to make our efforts to ride it. And another is that two things that really help us. One is that I had last time also spoken about it. Conducive lifestyle, and habit formations, that are routine that we create around our devotional, goals. So we create routines basically. That's one thing that really helps. For example, just as soon as I wake up, I switch on the Prabhupada lecture. There is no third thing that I do. Just first thing you get up is to offer your prayers to the Guru Parampara, and you switch on a lecture. And from that point onwards, you start winding up your mosquito net and go and take your bath and put your tilak and go to the temple hall for chanting. 25 minutes of hearing. So right in the beginning, if you take charge of the mind and senses, you will be much better situated throughout the day. So that's just one routine I'm talking about. Like this, we can create multiple routines throughout the day. Second thing is to help us do this sense mind control properly. We should also discuss very frankly the specific details of failure with some senior devotees and seek some practical guidelines by good association. And also when they give us instructions or association, our consciousness becomes highly elevated to handle the wayward senses. So we actually become buddhi paryavatishthate, firmly situated in our intelligence. So the more the intelligence is strengthened like this, the easier it becomes to control the mind and the senses. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think this is very much practical and very easy to implement. I like the idea of starting my day with the lectures from Prabhupada, because we have that radio which has all the collection of different lectures. So definitely I will implement it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, dear Prabhus and mothers, let's end here for today. I will go for some other duties now. But I am really grateful for this opportunity to speak this Mukundamala Stotra purports and bring your attention and as well as my own attention to the beauty of these verses and their applicability in our life. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
His Grace Bal Govind Prabhu ki
Jai.
Jai. Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhu. And this really helps when we do screen share of the verses, because then we can also focus on the words and the translations and purports.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing, Prabhu. We'll see you next Saturday, same time, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, can we make next thing at 6:30 to 7:15?
6:30 to 7:15 Indian time. Okay, we'll do, Prabhu. So
Means
that
half
will
an hour
be
is
half an hour before.
than today's.
So it will be 9 a.m. Dear devotees, 9 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. next Saturday.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jai